I believe that, again, this is my based on my readings, right? The Platonic works, the Republic talks about justice as it pertains to oneself. And what that means is that when, as one is making choices that affect one's own life, one can choose to do things that bring about momentary pain. And with knowing that momentary pain would actually lead to longer term happiness. So when I say momentary pain, it'd be like saying that, there's donuts in front of you. You want to eat the donut, but you don't eat the donut because you know it's not good for you in the long run. So who is telling whom not to eat the donut? It's like you are telling yourself. That means there is a part of you that wants to eat the donut, and there's a part of you that knows that that's not the right thing to do. Both of those are Jeremys. There is a Jeremy in a hierarchical state. There's a Jeremy that controls the other Jeremy, and the Jeremy that controls the other Jeremy is what in if it's ordered the right way, in a philosophical mind, in a person who has wisdom, the rational principle, which is the part of the brain that knows the difference between good and evil, that controls the honor seeking part of the brain, which wants to do the right things to gain honor, who then controls the appetitive elements, which with the elements that only want to do the things that make itself feel good. So the rational principle is the smallest part that controls the larger part, which then controls the largest part. And the analogy there was the man controlling the lion. The lion controls the multi-headed chimeric monster. The multi-headed chimeric monster is the appetites. We have appetites that are multitudinous, millions upon millions of different wants and desires. And if we were to go out there and just spend our time participating in those desires, you have like a rock star lifestyle. And rock star lifestyles usually end in terrible addiction, terrible suicides, death, and so on. Right? That is the argument against following a life of pleasure. It's a tyrannical life. It's a tyrannical existence. Right? Honor seeking is what most of us end up doing. We tame the chimera because we don't want to come across as people who are just taken in by appetites. And we do that because we don't want to be seen as somebody who's taken in by appetites. There's a difference between doing that as opposed to doing it for the right reasons. The right reason being because that's the right thing to do, because that is the just thing to do. That's the wise thing to do. If you do it for those reasons, then you're following a rational principle. So Jeremy may be telling Jeremy to not eat the donut because Jeremy wants to look good in a fitted shirt, which is the honor seeking element. Jeremy telling Jeremy to not eat the donut is also because Jeremy knows that's the wrong thing to do because it creates a bad example for his kids. That's a whole nother Jeremy. So wisdom being leading that is the top of it. So now to answer your question, one can be unjust if one does not have this ordered republic in their minds, where the rational principle controls the honor seeking elements, which controls the appetitive elements. Right? Now, for some people, it's not a choice. If one is, like we talk about a rational individual has a rational principle that ends up saying, don't do it. But they haven't ordered their constitution where they can prevent themselves from doing that. Right? Their honor seeking part takes over the rational part, where they follow convention. They seek profit instead of seeking good because they want a better house, or they want a bigger car, or they want a better looking spouse, or whatever. Right? And then there are those who are completely enmeshed in the appetitive parts, which are just driven by passion. And that's why they neither seek honor nor do they seek wisdom. That is most of us in the early stages, in those opportunist diplomat stages. I think opportunists are probably in those stages, right? And so those folks are folks who are, there's really no point having conversations about rational thoughts and justice and injustice. As you ascend that vertical development, there's a time when that conversation can be had. Why do you choose to do the right thing? Because that's the right, because I want to be seen as the person who does the right things. I want to do this because I want a promotion, as opposed to, why do you choose to do the right things? Well, because those are the right things to do. I have more self-respect. Those are things that lead to a good life. I'm following the path of virtue. Those are two different individuals. So I think one can be unjust to oneself if one understands that paradigm and still chooses to do the wrong things. That is an unjust individual, and I find it very strange.